Hi everybody, I'm Gwendolyn Sterk from Sterk Family Law, and I have the privilege to be with Mary Beth Walter today, and she's going to talk to us about the role of school advocates. Welcome. Thanks for coming out today.
Thanks
Appreciate
for having
it.
me, Gwen.
Okay, so people and parents navigating the special needs issue. For the first time, they're talking about special education, and they're terrified. So they want to know, what is a school advocate? Because they've heard the word, but they don't know what it means.
A school advocate is a person who has training. Now, we're not in Illinois. They don't have a certificate. They don't have license, but it's a person who is able to interpret what the IEP team is saying or what the school district is saying in regards to the student. It's advising you on, you the parent, as far as your rights.
Right.
And it's also to hopefully arrive at the best program in the best interest of that child.
Now, a lot of times parents go through the process and either their child gets an IEP, an individual education plan, correct? Or they end up with a 504 plan, which we're going to talk about a little bit later in another podcast. But they then get called into a meeting and there's all these people there. And it's kind of like groupthink and they feel timid and shy. What does the advocate do in that position?
Well, as the parent or as the advocate, you are able to do two things. And one is ask for more clarification.
Okay.
Ask for anything that you don't think is quite where you see things are going. And also, not only the explaining, but the implementation. Having the school district back up what it is they think would do best. And also expressing your concerns. School advocate too, sometimes when you're sitting, typically there's between 8 and 12 professionals, depending on the issue or what is presented at the IEP. And so the parent feels alone, the parent feels defensive. The other thing is too, if the parent did not have a good schooling experience, for whatever reason, sometimes that clouds them.
Sure.
So having the advocate there actually helps the process and helps the parent feel more in control of the situation.
Got it. I think that also the advocacy program, to some extent, if the school's not going to meet the needs of the child, can also bring out alternatives, correct?
Correct.
So, for example, if a school district and there is a special needs child that needs to be at another individualized school and that school district itself can't function or perform what that child's needs are because they're extensive or they're very specific, you as a school advocate would then advocate where the child alternatives would be.
That is correct. And school districts may not use cost as an objection.
Okay, but come on, isn't that really practical? They can't use it as an objection to the plan, but sometimes in reality, isn't that really what we're at the end of the day? Do they want to pay if we have another school take over?
Well, can they meet the student's needs?
Right, and that's the point, but that's what the advocate's going to do, right?
Well, and there's a reason it's called an individual educational plan. It doesn't talk about individual educational plan within this setting,
right,
within this school district, within the rules. It's the individual educational plan. And I think that it helps all of us if the agreement can be made that the best possible schooling for the child.
So if you're a parent and you recently got an IEP for your child and you don't think that the IEP is going to be able to be serviced, bringing in an advocate is one option. Tell us about the law. Is this a federal law?
It's a federal law that each state interprets a little bit differently. 94-142, which says every child has a right, not a privilege, but a right to go to school. That's one. And a parent truly has, the parent has tools in the toolbox to help affect the change. If you feel that something wasn't properly represented at the IEP, you can request that you would like to go in and make a revision.
Okay.
And let's say the school district says, no, I'm too busy. You can then appeal to the State Board of Education. Always do it in writing, don't orally say it, don't do it over the email, but present it. And they have to respond.
Okay. And so that's the process, is there really is a due process because it's a federal right of a child,
Yep.
and the parent then isn't going to know that. Just like if I was going in for a medical procedure. I'm a lawyer. I don't know medical procedures, right? So I would have to have somebody help me
Yes.
and explain what's going to happen. In the same manner, you need somebody to advocate or to explain what this process is going to look like.
And I think the role of the advocate helps because it's removed from the day-to-day involvement with the student. And by that I mean, you come with all these hopes, these fears,
Right.
these complications with your child, and the advocate's able to say, okay, within an educational setting,
This is what we can do, X, Y, or Z, right?
it also can help the school district, I don't want to say sell the program, but have the parent feel more comfortable with what's being presented. Because if you're one person and you're surrounded by strangers that know each other, it's not comfortable.
Okay, but it also, on the flip side of it, can also be an advocate to make sure the school system does what's necessary to accommodate the child.
Yes.
It
Yes.
works both ways.
Yes.
Now, in addition to having a school advocate, or after you've completed with a school advocate, you also can hire your own attorney in the process.
Yes.
So you certainly have rights that are there. But a school advocate is going to help navigate through that, explain the situation to you, and generally they're paid on an hourly basis. Is that correct?
That's my understanding.
Okay.
I do not do it for pay, so that is the agreement. But Lisa Madigan, before she left, it's on the website, has what an advocate, what are some of the guide marks for the advocate. And what's interesting, she says, is whether it's pro bono or whether it's for fee, get that in writing.
Got it. And that's what you do, is you provide a service and you provide pro bono services for parents.
Yes.
Is that correct? And what a great opportunity that is for parents to be able to get somebody to help them to navigate through this very difficult situation. But there also are paid advocates, and then you could also hire an attorney.
Yes. And sometimes too it's an advocate plus an attorney. So you have all those tools. What's interesting is there is a greater proportion of students with an IEP that are in a discipline system within a school district than the general population or the general identified. So for example, let's say it's 10% of the school district, they probably account for 16% of the disciplinary things.
Okay.
So you have that going in. And the goal of the laws, the goal of the advocate, and truly for the IEP team as well, is to make the person successful in that school setting and allow them to transition to a successful life.
That's correct. Well, thanks for your time, and I hope this helps people. So if you're out there today and you wanted more information about how to get a hold of Mary Beth Walter, or if you have any other questions, you can certainly contact our office as well. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.